Most people trade their time for money. They show up, they work, they get paid, and then they do it all over again the next day. But the wealthy understand a deeper truth that most people are never taught. Real freedom does not begin when you earn more money. Real freedom begins when your assets start paying you. When the income flows in whether you are working or resting, awake or asleep. Do not work for money. Make money work for you. The rich are not smarter than everyone else. They simply understand systems. Systems that multiply value over time without requiring their constant presence. Assets are the machines that work when you do not. They create freedom, not just income. As Warren Buffett once said, if you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. This audiobook, How to Build Assets That Pay You Forever, reveals the mindset, the principles, and the practical steps required to build streams of income that never stop flowing. This is not about luck or perfect timing. It is about deliberate design. The wealthy have always understood one simple truth. The poor work for money. The rich make money work for them. This is your turning point. The moment you stop living for paychecks and start building permanence. Every chapter in this audiobook will show you exactly how to create assets that serve you for life, no matter where you are starting from today. Before we begin, if you are watching this on YouTube, take 2 seconds right now and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We release powerful audiobooks every single week. Content designed to change how you think about money, wealth, and freedom. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let us get started. Let us build something that lasts. Chapter 1. Stop trading time for money. Start building what works without you. If you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Most people live inside a financial trap they never stop to question. They wake up every morning, trade hours of their one and only life for a paycheck, and call that success. But deep down, something does not feel right. There is a quiet frustration that builds over years. The feeling that no matter how hard you work, your freedom never actually gets closer. The bills keep coming, the job keeps demanding, and the future keeps feeling uncertain. Here is the truth, and it is both simple and brutal. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you are not free. You are owned by your job, your schedule, and your monthly obligations. To build assets that pay you forever, you must stop trading time for money and start creating things that work without you. Time is your most valuable resource, not money. Money can be earned again. Time cannot be replaced, duplicated, or borrowed from anyone. Every hour you spend working entirely for someone else's dream is an hour you will never get back. The wealthy understand this truth at a deep and personal level. They know that money is a byproduct of systems, leverage, and ownership, not of effort alone. Hard work is honorable, but hard work alone will never make you wealthy. The world does not reward exhaustion. It rewards results that continue producing value long after the original effort has been made. That is why you must learn to build machines, not just moments, systems, not just paychecks, assets, not just labor. The first step toward genuine financial freedom is a shift in how you see yourself. Stop thinking like an employee who earns by the hour and start thinking like a builder who earns by design. The employee works once and gets paid once. The builder of assets works once and gets paid continuously. That is the fundamental difference between those who struggle financially their entire lives and those who eventually break free. You must learn to separate your income from your physical presence. Your ideas, your skills, and your resources must work harder than you do. Your time should be the architect of your wealth, not the laborer inside it. Leverage is the engine behind all lasting wealth. Leverage means doing more with less, using money, systems, technology, or other people's time to multiply the impact of your own effort. It is why a business owner can generate income while sitting on a beach, while an employee cannot afford to miss a single day of work. Leverage transforms your time from a limited and exhaustible resource into something that can be multiplied far beyond your physical capacity. The goal is not to escape all work. The goal is to make your work exponential. Every hour you invest in building a system should free you from dozens or hundreds of future hours of labor. To begin building what works without you, identify income streams that can operate independently of your daily presence. Start with assets accessible to ordinary people, even those with modest incomes. Digital products like ebooks, online courses, or software are excellent starting points because they require low upfront investment and have virtually unlimited scalability. You create once, and the internet sells it endlessly to people in every country, in every time zone, every hour of the day. The same principle applies to content-based assets, a YouTube channel, a blog, or a podcast. When built with genuine consistency and smart strategy, these platforms become cash-generating ecosystems over time. The work you put in today keeps producing results tomorrow, next month, and years from now. A single video or article published today can attract viewers and generate income for a decade without any additional effort from you. If you prefer something more tangible, consider real estate. A single well-chosen rental property can pay you every month indefinitely. You do not need to start large or expensive. Start small and affordable, in a location showing signs of growth. Use financing wisely. Manage it efficiently. Let your tenants gradually pay down your investment while you build equity. Over time, one property leads to a second, the second to a third, until your rental income surpasses your job income entirely. The asset works, you supervise, the money flows, you control. Investing in dividend-paying stocks, index funds, or bonds is another accessible and proven path to automated income. These assets reward patience and consistency more than brilliance or perfect timing. Even modest monthly contributions compound into significant returns across a decade or two. Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world because it rewards discipline, not luck. Every dollar you invest wisely becomes a silent employee working for you around the clock, every single day. Building assets also requires a change in identity, not just strategy. You must stop identifying as a worker and start identifying as a creator. Workers depend on external systems to provide income. Creators build their own. The moment you shift from consumption to creation, you cross an invisible but very real line between financial struggle and financial freedom. The middle class consumes what the wealthy produce. The wealthy produce what the middle class consumes. Which side of that equation do you want to be on? Automation is the modern foundation of wealth creation. Technology has completely leveled the playing field. You no longer need a large corporation, a full team, or massive starting capital to build income-producing systems. A smartphone, a laptop, and an internet connection can now replace an entire office. You can automate sales, marketing, customer service, and payments. You can outsource repetitive tasks and focus your energy entirely on strategy and growth. Every automated system you build becomes a digital asset. A piece of infrastructure earning income without demanding your constant attention. Do not underestimate the power of reinvesting your early profits. When your first asset begins generating income, resist spending it all on lifestyle upgrades. Use it to build your second asset. This is exactly how exponential growth begins. One income stream becomes two, two become four, and gradually your financial life no longer depends on your daily labor. You are now operating on leverage, the quiet secret language of the wealthy. The emotional and psychological freedom that comes from having assets working for you is difficult to put into words. You wake up knowing your life is not owned by anyone else's schedule. You can choose how to spend your day, where to live, and what to focus your energy on. Your time belongs to you again. That is true wealth. That is what people are really chasing when they say they want more money. They want peace. They want control. They want freedom. But freedom comes with real responsibility. When you are no longer trading time for money, you must manage what you have built with genuine wisdom. Protect your assets. Diversify your income. Keep learning. Never assume the game is over. Build with longevity in mind, not quick gratification. The assets that pay you forever are the ones you continue to nurture, adapt, and improve over time. Building what works without you is not about escaping work. It is about elevating your role, from worker inside the machine to designer of the machine. That is a completely different level of control, confidence, and clarity. And it changes not just your bank account, but how you think, how you act, and how you see every opportunity around you. If you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Those words are not meant to frighten you. They are meant to wake you up. Build systems that outlast your effort. Build assets that keep moving when you rest. Build machines that pay you. Not because you worked hard today, but because you worked wisely yesterday. Chapter 2. Master the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes it out. Money without understanding is chaos. You can work for decades, earn a respectable income, and still end up with nothing to show for it. Because you never learned the most fundamental law of wealth, the ability to clearly see the difference between what feeds your financial future and what bleeds it dry. Every dollar you own is a soldier. It either goes out and conquers more for you, or it goes out and never comes back. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes it out. This truth is as simple as it gets, but the vast majority of people ignore it their entire financial lives. They confuse the appearance of wealth with actual prosperity. They believe that owning expensive things means they are winning financially. So they chase cars, designer clothes, and houses they can barely afford, all while believing they are building success. But these are financial traps wearing the costume of trophies. The wealthy understand that real power comes from ownership. Specifically, ownership of income-generating assets that produce cash flow consistently, whether you are working or sleeping. Financial literacy is not taught in most schools. You were likely trained to be a productive worker, not a wealth builder. The traditional system rewards those who follow instructions, not those who question them and seek alternatives. To build real, lasting wealth, you must completely reprogram the way you think about money. Ask yourself one simple but powerful question before every purchase. Does this put money into my pocket or take it out? If it takes money out and does not create future income for you, it is a liability, no matter how impressive it looks on the outside. That house with a massive mortgage you cannot comfortably afford. Liability. That brand new car bought on credit that depreciates the moment you drive it off the lot. Liability. That streaming subscription you barely use. Liability. But a rental property generating reliable monthly cash flow. Asset. A digital product selling online around the clock while you sleep. Asset. A dividend-paying stock that deposits money directly into your account every single quarter. Asset. The path to financial freedom genuinely begins with awareness. You cannot fix what you cannot clearly see. Study your personal cash flow the way a doctor studies a patient's vital signs, with complete honesty and careful attention. Every expense, every subscription, every recurring payment is either feeding your financial engine or quietly slowing it down. Most people never perform this kind of honest audit. They live by impulse instead of intention, enslaved by a consumer culture that has convinced them that spending equals happiness and that comfort equals success. But every time you buy something you do not truly need, you trade a piece of your future freedom for a moment of temporary satisfaction. The wealthy spend strategically. They use money as a precision tool for multiplication, not as emotional relief from the stress of daily life. Building wealth does not begin with a large paycheck. It begins with small, smart decisions made consistently over time. Even with a modest income, you can start creating assets that pay you. Open a high-yield savings account. Invest in low-cost index funds that compound reliably over years. Learn about real estate investment trusts, known as REITs, which allow you to invest in income-producing property with minimal starting capital. Build a digital asset, a YouTube channel, an online course, a blog, or an ebook. These are modern forms of ownership, accessible to anyone with commitment, creativity, and the willingness to learn. Remember this truth clearly. Wealth is not about resources. It is about resourcefulness. The middle class often stays trapped because they measure wealth by how much they earn. But that is the wrong measurement entirely. The real definition of financial freedom is this: how long can you sustain your current lifestyle if your active income stopped today? Assets buy you time. Liabilities steal it. When your investments produce income even while you rest, you are no longer just a worker. You are an owner. And ownership moves you from financial survival to genuine financial sovereignty. Financial intelligence is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It teaches you to see past surface value. Two people can buy the exact same car, one as a pure status symbol, the other as a business tool that generates income through deliveries, rentals, or services. The object is identical, but the purpose determines whether it functions as an asset or a liability. Smart people learn to use what they own to create more ownership. This is precisely why the wealthy continue to grow wealthier. They do not simply spend more, they allocate better. Follow a simple and proven formula. Earn, save, invest, and repeat. Allocate a clear percentage of every paycheck to assets that grow over time. Start with 10% and increase it as your income grows. Automate your investments so that discipline consistently replaces emotion. The less emotion involved in your financial decisions, the faster you will grow. Avoid the seductive illusion of wealth created by debt. Just because you can finance something does not mean you can truly afford it. Debt tied to consumption is poison that compounds against you over time. Debt tied to investment is leverage that compounds for you. Use it carefully and only when it genuinely multiplies your income, not your lifestyle. Owning assets changes how you see the entire world around you. You stop chasing money and start creating it. You stop working for every dollar and start making every dollar work for you. It is not about greed, it is about freedom. When your assets cover your expenses, you reclaim your life. You have time to think, to create, to rest, to grow. That is the essence of genuine financial independence. Understanding the difference between assets and liabilities is not just an accounting exercise. It is a complete philosophy, the mental framework that separates people who struggle financially from those who eventually break free. Once you internalize it completely, you will never look at a purchase the same way again. You will begin to see money not as something to spend, but as something to plant, grow, and harvest. The poor buy liabilities. The middle class buys liabilities they genuinely believe are assets. And the rich buy assets that go out and buy more assets for them. Choose deliberately which group you belong to, because that single choice will define your financial future more than your income level ever will. Chapter 3. Build assets you can afford. Start where you are. You do not have to be rich to start, but you have to start to become rich. Most people never begin building wealth because they believe they need a significant amount of money before they can do anything meaningful. That belief is sold by fear and reinforced by a lack of financial education. You do not need hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank to build assets that pay you forever. You need clarity, consistency, and the courage to begin with whatever you have right now. The truth is that wealth creation has very little to do with your current income and everything to do with your daily decisions. You can absolutely begin building income-producing assets starting from exactly where you are today, with what you already have and what you already know. The problem is almost never a lack of resources. It is almost always a lack of resourcefulness. The wealthy are not born with more money than everyone else. They develop the decision to act, to create, to invest, and to let time do the compounding work. If you are waiting for the perfect time to start, understand this clearly. It will never come. The perfect time is right now. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Your income is not your prison. It is your seed. The only real question is this: are you planting it, or are you spending it on things that will never grow? Even with a small salary, you can begin building assets that generate income over time. The game is not about how much you make. It is entirely about how you manage and multiply what you already have. Start by changing how you see money. Stop viewing it as something to spend and start viewing it as something to strategically deploy. Every dollar you earn is an employee. Either you spend it and it is gone forever, or you put it to work and it brings more back with it over time. Start small, but think long term. Real wealth is not built through giant leaps. It is built through small, disciplined steps repeated consistently with patience and genuine faith in the process. Begin by building low-cost assets that align with your current abilities. If you have a creative skill, build a digital product, an ebook, an online course, a design template, a piece of software. If you have a spare room or extra space, list it for short-term rental income. If you have real knowledge and experience in a specific area, start a YouTube channel, a blog, or an online consulting service. Each of these is a seed that, with time and consistent care, can grow into something that produces income for years without requiring you to restart the process every single day. The internet has opened doors that previous generations could never have imagined. You no longer need permission from a large institution or company to build something real and valuable. For those starting with modest incomes, begin with simple and proven steps. Automate your savings first. Every single month, move a set percentage of your income directly into an investment account before you spend anything else. Treat that automated transfer like a non-negotiable bill, because your future self is depending on it. Then direct that money consistently into assets that appreciate or produce cash flow. Index funds, dividend-paying stocks, real estate crowdfunding platforms that allow fractional ownership. Even $10 or $20 a week invested consistently across years can grow into something genuinely substantial through the compounding effect. Compounding is not magic. It is mathematics that rewards time and discipline above everything else. Every reinvested dividend, every small contribution, every month you stay consistent adds to the foundation you are building. The problem is not that people cannot build wealth. The problem is that they quit before the compounding has time to produce visible results. They want immediate returns from a process specifically designed for delayed gratification. If you are starting from very little, build assets that require more time than money. The internet is full of real opportunities to turn what you already know into consistent income. Write articles, design digital products, build a personal brand, create content that generates advertising or affiliate income over time. These are digital assets that require your time and effort upfront, not your capital. They take time to grow, but once established, they pay you continuously. A single video or article published today can produce income for years after the day it was created. That is the power of leverage. You work once and get paid many times over. Never underestimate the value of a side income stream treated seriously. Many people dismiss small additional income sources as not worth the effort. But the right side income, treated with the seriousness of a real business, can become your first genuine asset. A freelance service, a small digital shop, or a simple online store can all evolve over time into automated income sources. The key is to treat them like businesses, not hobbies. Track your revenue, reinvest your early profits, improve your systems. And once your side income produces consistent results, use that money to buy financial assets that grow passively. Build a bridge from active income to passive income. That is the exact path ordinary people have used throughout history to become financially extraordinary. Your biggest enemy on this journey is not your income level. It is hesitation. Most people say they will start investing when they make more money. But when they earn more, they increase their spending instead of their assets. Lifestyle inflation is the silent killer of financial potential. The real secret is to live deliberately below your means, invest the difference consistently, and build your assets before you allow yourself to upgrade your lifestyle. Delay pleasure today to secure genuine freedom tomorrow. Start where you are. Build what you can right now. Stay consistent through the slow periods. Because the person who starts with very little but stays committed through the process will always outpace the person who waits for perfect conditions that never arrive. You do not have to be rich to start, but you must start to become rich. Chapter 4. Turn your skills into assets. Monetize what you know. Every single person carries within them a form of wealth that no recession can destroy, no market crash can take away, and no competitor can simply copy and replicate. Their skills, their experience, their accumulated knowledge. These are the most underutilized assets in the world. Yet they hold the potential to produce lifelong income for anyone willing to package and deploy them with purpose and strategy. You do not need a factory, a large office, or massive starting capital to begin building wealth from what you know. You only need to recognize one powerful and liberating truth: your ability to solve specific problems, create genuine value, and deliver consistent results can be transformed into financial power that outlasts your active working years entirely. The market pays those who can solve specific problems efficiently and reliably. The sooner you learn to package what you know into a form that other people can access and directly benefit from, the sooner you begin building assets that pay you long after the initial work is complete. Your skills are your most powerful and personal currency. Every job you have held, every project you have completed, every challenge you have navigated successfully has taught you something that other people are still struggling to figure out. You might assume that what you know is ordinary or too common to be valuable, but it is not. What feels completely normal and automatic to you is genuinely valuable to someone else who has not yet learned it. The key is to translate that internal knowledge into a product, a service, or a platform that can operate beyond your direct daily involvement. Begin with honest self-awareness. What are you truly good at? Not just what you were told to do at a job, but what you can do better than most people around you. Maybe you are exceptionally good at organizing complex information. Maybe you are a natural teacher who can explain difficult things simply. Maybe you write clearly and persuasively, understand technical systems deeply, or solve problems that most people find overwhelming. Every one of these abilities can be monetized in the modern economy. We live in a time when education is no longer confined to physical classrooms, and people all over the world are actively willing to pay for clear, practical guidance from someone who has genuine experience with what they are struggling through. Start by packaging your skill into something people can actually use and benefit from. If you are a natural teacher, create a structured digital course around a specific topic you have mastered. If you are a designer, build and sell templates or custom digital products that people can purchase repeatedly without requiring you to create something new each time. If you are a strong communicator, Start a YouTube channel or podcast and build an audience that trusts your perspective over time. If you are a skilled problem solver in a specific field, offer consulting or one-on-one coaching sessions. Each of these actions transforms knowledge that currently lives only inside your head into a system that can generate income without your constant presence. The most important mental shift you need to make is moving from employee thinking to asset thinking. Employees think about earning per hour. Asset builders think about earning per system. When you genuinely think like a builder, the question you ask yourself changes entirely. Instead of asking how much will I get paid for doing this, you ask how can I create this once and continue getting paid for it indefinitely. That single question changes everything. It stops you from chasing temporary paychecks and starts you building permanent streams of income that work, whether you are actively involved or not. Building a strong personal brand is central to this entire transformation. In a world overflowing with information and options, credibility and trust have become the most valuable currencies available. People do not simply buy products. They buy confidence, certainty, and guidance from individuals they genuinely believe in and feel connected to. Your name becomes a signal of quality when you consistently demonstrate your expertise, share genuinely useful insights, and solve real problems for people publicly and reliably. A strong personal brand acts like a magnet. It attracts clients, opportunities, and partnerships without you having to chase them constantly. It becomes an income-producing asset that works for you long after the original content or service was created. Communicate your value with clarity and authenticity from the very beginning. Start with your story. Show people who you are, what you have genuinely learned through experience, and how you can specifically help them with what they are struggling with right now. Authenticity connects people to you far more powerfully than perfection ever could. Share valuable content regularly. Give before you ask. Build trust over time, and that trust will convert naturally and consistently into sales, contracts, referrals, and opportunities you could never have manufactured on your own. One of the most effective ways to monetize your knowledge in the modern economy is through digital education. Online courses, membership communities, and training programs have grown into massive and still expanding industries because people crave learning from real experience. If you have genuinely mastered a skill or navigated a specific type of challenge successfully, others will pay to learn from you directly. Create structured lessons. Record clear and practical video content. Start small and focused. Gather honest feedback and improve with each iteration. Each course you build becomes a digital asset that can serve thousands of people with no additional effort after the initial creation. The first sale may require significant work to get right, but every sale that follows is pure leverage, income generated without additional labor on your part. Consulting and coaching operate on a particularly powerful principle. Instead of selling your time by the hour, you sell your perspective, your clarity, your systems, and your results-oriented guidance. When you position yourself as a genuinely trusted authority in your field, your value multiplies dramatically. 1 hour of expert consulting can generate more income than a full week of conventional hourly work, because you are no longer being paid for time. You are being paid for wisdom and experience that took years to develop and cannot be easily replicated. To succeed in turning your skills into lasting and scalable assets, treat what you are building like a real business from the very beginning. Set clear goals for where you want to be in 6 months, 1 year, and 5 years. Price your offerings strategically and with genuine confidence. Invest in the tools, education, and systems that allow you to grow beyond where you are today. Learn how to market what you offer, manage your finances properly, and communicate your value to the right audience consistently. The world does not pay the most talented. It pays the most consistently visible and genuinely valuable. Your skill is your most powerful starting point. Use it, refine it, package it, scale it, and never stop improving it. Because the moment you turn what you know into something that works for you, you are no longer just earning a living. You are building something that lasts. And that is exactly how you create assets that pay you forever. Chapter 5. Invest in real assets, property, gold, and dividend stocks. Real assets are the bedrock of lasting wealth. They are not numbers on a screen or promises printed on paper. They are tangible, resilient, and enduring. The kind of things that have built more wealth for ordinary people over long periods of time than any quick money scheme or market trend ever has. Property, gold, and dividend-paying stocks have stood the test of time across generations, economic cycles, and everything the world has thrown at them. They are the assets that work quietly and steadily in the background, growing, compounding, and paying you whether the economy is booming or struggling. And crucially, you do not have to already be wealthy to own them. You only need to understand their value clearly and start as early as you possibly can. The biggest mistake most people make is assuming that real assets are reserved for the already wealthy. But the truth is almost exactly the opposite. The wealthy became wealthy precisely because they understood and consistently invested in real assets. They bought land when others hesitated. They purchased shares in strong companies that paid growing dividends year after year. They held gold when others questioned its value. Real wealth is built through deliberate ownership, not through speculation or waiting for a lucky break. Real estate has always been one of the most powerful cornerstones of lasting financial independence. Property is physical, it is scarce, and it serves a need that will never disappear. The human need for shelter, space, and location. Unlike paper-based assets that can theoretically lose significant value very quickly, land and well-chosen property hold intrinsic worth that is anchored to reality. A well-selected property does not simply sit idle collecting dust. It produces monthly rental income, appreciates in value over time, and can be used as leverage to acquire additional investments. That is 3 separate ways a single asset works for you simultaneously every single month. You no longer need to purchase entire buildings or large commercial properties to participate in real estate wealth creation. Through real estate investment trusts, known as REITs, and modern fractional property investing platforms, you can own a meaningful portion of income-producing real estate with a relatively small initial investment. The key is not the size of your first step. It is the consistency with which you take steps over time. The real estate market rewards patience and discipline far more reliably than it rewards perfect timing or bold speculation. Owning property also provides a natural and powerful defense against inflation. When the general price of things rises, the value of your property and the rent it generates typically rise alongside it. Inflation quietly and steadily erodes the purchasing power of cash sitting idle in a savings account. Real estate fights back effectively. It pays you monthly, it appreciates over years, and it can be passed from one generation to the next as a lasting financial foundation. The goal is not to flip properties for fast profits. It is to hold properties that produce steady, dependable cash flow that compounds your overall wealth position across decades. Gold occupies a fundamentally different but equally important role in a well-constructed financial life. For thousands of years, gold has functioned as the most universal and reliable store of value the world has ever known. Governments have risen and fallen throughout history. Currencies have lost enormous portions of their purchasing power through inflation and mismanagement. But gold has consistently held its ground. It is not designed to make you rich overnight. It is designed to protect and preserve what you have already worked to build. In times of genuine economic uncertainty, market volatility, or currency instability, gold tends to hold its value when almost everything else is losing ground rapidly. Owning physical gold or investing in gold exchange-traded funds adds an important layer of balance and stability to your overall financial position. Think of it as your insurance policy against economic chaos. The part of your portfolio that remains relatively stable when the rest of the financial world is experiencing significant turbulence. You do not need large quantities to benefit from this protection. Even a modest and consistent allocation toward gold can meaningfully safeguard the rest of your assets during difficult periods. Gold is the investor's long-term safeguard, not the shortcut seeker's quick win. Dividend-paying stocks represent one of the most elegant and genuinely accessible forms of passive income available to ordinary people with ordinary starting incomes. When you own shares in a company that pays dividends, you are not simply betting on the stock price moving upward. You are becoming a partial owner of a real operating business that generates revenue, earns profits, and shares a portion of those profits with you on a regular and predictable schedule, quarterly in most cases, regardless of whether you did any additional work during that period. Imagine owning shares in companies whose products or services millions of people around the world use every single day. Every transaction those companies complete adds a small fraction to your personal wealth. Dividends are tangible proof of real ownership in something valuable and productive. And when you choose to reinvest those dividends automatically, rather than spending them, the compounding effect accelerates powerfully and consistently. Over time, the growth becomes genuinely difficult to stop, because each reinvested dividend purchases more shares, which produce more dividends, which purchase even more shares. Most people dramatically underestimate what consistent, patient investing in quality dividend stocks can accomplish across a decade or two of disciplined effort. They wait endlessly for the perfect entry point into the market. And while waiting, they do absolutely nothing. The best time to invest was yesterday. The second best time is today. Start small. Start now. Automate your monthly contributions. Ignore the short-term noise that will always be present, and let time do what it does best for those disciplined enough to allow it. Real estate provides monthly cash flow and long-term appreciation. Dividend stocks provide liquidity, growth, and regular passive income deposits. Gold provides protection and stability during times of economic stress and uncertainty. Together, these three categories form a balanced and genuinely resilient wealth foundation that functions in nearly any economic environment. When one faces pressure from outside forces, the other two tend to remain stable and compensate. That is how diversified, lasting wealth is built, not through a single great bet on one thing, but through the patient and deliberate layering of assets that serve different purposes and protect each other naturally. Do not wait until you have more money before you begin. Do not wait for the market to be at a lower or more comfortable level. Do not let the pursuit of perfect conditions become the reason you never start. Begin building your foundation of real assets today, with whatever you can commit consistently and honestly, because every single day your real assets exist and are given the chance to grow. They are working silently and powerfully on your behalf, moving you steadily away from financial dependency and toward the genuine freedom you are building this entire journey for. Chapter 6. Build Digital Assets, the New Age of Wealth Creation. The internet is the greatest wealth-building tool in human history, if you use it with genuine purpose and intelligence. The internet has become the single greatest equalizer of our time. It does not care where you were born, what school you attended, how much money you started with, or what credentials you hold. It rewards only those who consistently produce genuine value, solve real problems for real people, and show up with regularity and authentic purpose. In this new era, wealth is no longer confined to the walls of large corporations or restricted to those who were already privileged enough to access traditional capital. The modern financial empire is built on platforms, systems, content, and purpose. This is the age of digital assets, the invisible, scalable machines that generate money around the clock, in every time zone, every day of the year. The modern wealth builder does not need to own factories or commercial real estate skyscrapers. They own systems, valuable content, and the attention of loyal audiences. The digital landscape is your new real estate, and every piece of valuable content, every website, every online course, every email subscriber list, and every automated digital store you build is essentially a plot of productive land that can appreciate in value and generate revenue indefinitely. The secret behind building digital assets that pay you forever lies in one fundamental concept: leverage. Leverage your time, your knowledge, and your creativity through scalable systems that operate independently of your continuous daily involvement. When you write a book, record an online course, or create a digital product, you do the core work once. But the returns can continue flowing for years, or even decades after that initial effort is complete. This is the power of scalability that the traditional employment model simply cannot offer. Your output stays the same, but your reach and your income can multiply without any fixed limit. The first step to building effective digital assets is clarity about your purpose. Decide what specific problem you are going to solve, what real value you are going to create, and exactly who you intend to serve with that value. Every profitable digital asset begins with a genuine commitment to making someone's life easier, better, more efficient, or more enjoyable. Value is the non-negotiable foundation. Money in the digital world is simply the market's way of rewarding genuine usefulness. And when you build something that truly helps people, the market rewards you with attention, trust, loyalty, and income that compounds over time. The second step is consistent creation. And this is where most people fail, not because they lack talent or ideas, but because creation demands patience, courage, and the willingness to produce content and products before the income arrives. You must be willing to build before you profit. Create your ebook, record your first course, launch your YouTube channel, start your podcast, build your website, and publish your first digital product. The initial versions will not be perfect, and that is completely acceptable. Perfection is the enemy of momentum and progress. Every digital empire that exists today began as a simple idea executed with determination by someone who refused to wait until everything felt comfortable and ready. The third step is automation, the stage where sustained effort transforms into genuine, lasting freedom. When you automate the right parts of your digital business, you remove the need for constant daily labor and create systems that operate and produce income independently of your presence. You can automate your sales through digital marketing funnels that run continuously. You can automate your content distribution through scheduling tools. You can automate customer communication through email sequences and automated response systems. You can automate payments and digital product delivery through modern e-commerce platforms that handle everything on your behalf. Imagine having a business that takes orders, delivers products, handles routine customer questions, and collects payment, all while you are sleeping or spending meaningful time with your family. That is not a fantasy for technical experts only. That is the practical and increasingly common result of intelligent system design using tools that are accessible and affordable to almost anyone today. The fourth step is scale. Once your digital system is working reliably for a small audience, focus intentionally on expanding your reach. Use social media strategically and consistently. Build an email list as a priority because unlike social media followers, your email list belongs entirely to you. No algorithm can restrict your access to it. Explore partnerships and collaborations with people who already serve the audience you want to reach. Every additional person you serve multiplies your results without requiring proportional increases in your personal effort. A single video can reach millions of people. A course can simultaneously serve thousands of students. A digital product can be downloaded by customers all over the globe with zero additional cost per new customer. This is why digital wealth compounds faster than almost any traditional business model. The fifth step is diversification across multiple platforms and income streams. Never rely on a single platform or a single source of digital revenue. Build a portfolio of digital assets that support and feed each other organically. A YouTube channel that drives viewers to your online course. A course that builds your email list. An email list that promotes your ebook. An ebook that brings readers back to your main community and brand. Each asset strengthens the others, forming an interconnected ecosystem that grows more valuable and more resilient with every passing month. Platforms change and algorithms shift, but a diversified portfolio of digital assets, anchored by a trusted personal brand and a loyal email list, creates a foundation that remains productive through whatever changes arrive. Your personal brand is at the absolute center of all of this. In the digital economy, people do not purchase from faceless companies. They invest their money in individuals they genuinely trust, connect with, and believe in. Your name, your story, your consistency, and your authentic voice are among your most powerful and enduring digital assets. Be real. Be consistent. Provide genuine value before you ask for anything in return. Build real relationships with your audience, not just transactions. Treat every person who subscribes, follows, or engages as a long-term relationship worth investing in carefully and honestly. Digital wealth also requires real discipline applied consistently over time. The internet is filled with distractions that can consume enormous amounts of time and energy without producing any meaningful results. Successful digital wealth builders treat their online business like a real business, with clear schedules, measurable goals, and honest assessment of what is working and what is not. They study their data, refine their strategies, and adapt quickly when the evidence calls for it. One video published per week becomes 52 per year. One digital product created per quarter becomes a growing portfolio of assets. The results do not appear overnight, but they accumulate powerfully and accelerate over time. The digital economy belongs entirely to those who dare to build within it. It belongs to those who see opportunity where others see only entertainment and distraction. The device in your hand right now can be a tool of pure passive consumption, or it can become a vehicle for building something extraordinary and lasting. You make that choice with every hour you decide to invest in creating, rather than simply scrolling. Build your digital empire one asset at a time. Because when your digital systems are genuinely working for you around the clock, generating income, serving customers, and growing your audience, you will finally experience what real financial freedom feels like. Income without constant labor, impact without geographic limits, freedom without needing anyone's permission to live the way you choose. Chapter 7. Protect, reinvent, and pass on your assets. Wealth is not what you earn. It is what you keep, what you grow, and what you pass on. Wealth is not built and then simply finished in a single moment of achievement. It is preserved, continuously expanded, and passed forward by those who understand the complete cycle. Creation, protection, and deliberate reinvention. Building assets is the first and most visible step of this journey. But the real test of genuine financial mastery begins when you learn how to protect what you have earned, keep it growing strategically over time, and ensure it outlives your own working years. Protection is not excessive caution or financial timidity. It is the discipline of genuine foresight, the mark of someone who thinks responsibly beyond the present moment and takes full ownership of what they have built. Every financial empire that it has ever collapsed did not fall because it lacked strength at its peak. It fell because it lacked adequate protection and the flexibility to adapt when the world changed around it. Your personal financial empire is no different. You must become its guardian, the strategist who defends what exists and the innovator who keeps it alive through every season and cycle of change. Your first responsibility once you have built real assets is protecting them. Wealth without a thoughtful defensive structure is essentially an open invitation for unnecessary loss. Protecting your assets begins with understanding the legal and financial frameworks that govern them in your specific situation. Learn about the structures that can secure what you have built. Trusts, wills, properly structured business entities, and smart tax strategies that keep more of what you earn working for you rather than flowing away unnecessarily. Wealthy people do not hide money illegally. They organize it intelligently and legally. They understand the rules of the financial game more deeply than most people ever bother to, and they use those rules to their full legal advantage. Asset protection is not exclusively for the ultra-wealthy. If you own a small business, a piece of investment property, digital intellectual property, or a growing investment portfolio of any size, you must take deliberate steps to protect it from unnecessary exposure and risk. Separate your personal finances clearly from your business finances. Ensure your valuable assets are properly structured and documented. Create appropriate legal boundaries around what you have built so that a single unexpected lawsuit, economic downturn, or personal crisis does not have the power to undo years of careful and disciplined effort. Once your protective structure is in place, your next obligation is to continuously adapt. The world is changing faster than at any previous point in history. Technology evolves without stopping. Economies shift in unexpected directions. Consumer behaviors transform as new generations and new platforms emerge. Markets reinvent themselves in ways that are genuinely difficult to predict with certainty, even for experienced experts. What worked perfectly yesterday may become significantly less effective tomorrow, and in some cases may become completely obsolete. Reinvention means evolving your assets to remain relevant, productive, and competitive as the world changes around them. If you own rental properties, regularly evaluate whether your rental strategy still serves you optimally in the current market environment. If you run an online business, actively monitor new platforms and shifts in how your audience engages and what they genuinely need from you. If you invest in stocks, periodically review your portfolio to confirm it remains appropriately diversified. Never cling to the comfortable familiarity of what used to work, simply because changing feels uncertain. The greatest long-term threat to accumulated wealth is stagnation. The unwillingness to adapt when the evidence clearly calls for it. Reinvesting your profits into innovation is not optional for those who want their wealth to last and grow. It is essential. Use a meaningful portion of what your assets generate to fund continued growth and improvement. Acquire new skills that increase your real value in the marketplace. Explore emerging markets or technologies where significant asset growth is forming. Fund improvements to your existing income systems and business operations. Let your capital work harder than you ever worked yourself by deploying it wisely and intentionally into the next phase of your growth. But protection and continuous reinvention are ultimately incomplete without a clear and intentional legacy strategy. Legacy is not about ego or the desire to be admired by future generations. It is about purpose, the bridge between your lifetime of disciplined building and the generations that follow. True wealth is measured not only by what accumulates during your active lifetime, but by what continues growing meaningfully in your absence. The assets you build should not only serve your own current needs. They should also empower the people and causes that matter most to you long after your direct involvement has ended. A genuine legacy is not simply money passed down. It is practical wisdom, working systems, sound values, and real financial understanding transferred intentionally to those who will inherit what you have created. If you leave behind significant wealth without also transferring the knowledge required to preserve and grow it wisely, you may inadvertently be creating a burden rather than a blessing. Generational wealth requires generational knowledge and generational education. Teach the people who matter to you how money actually works in practice. Show them how to invest with patience, how to save with discipline, how to evaluate risk honestly, and how to think consistently in terms of decades rather than just months. Your legacy is not simply what you give them. It is what you teach and inspire them to create for themselves. Formalizing your intentions with proper legal documentation is equally essential. Create a living trust. Write a clear and legally valid will. Establish a succession plan for any business assets you own. Wealth without clear legal structure creates confusion, unnecessary conflict, and avoidable loss for the people you most want to protect and empower. Design a clear roadmap for how your wealth should be managed, preserved, and continued after your direct involvement ends. Think of your wealth as a living organism that requires ongoing direction and care to continue, thriving and producing value for those who depend on it. Build wisely, protect fiercely, reinvent continuously, and pass everything on with genuine intention and documented clarity. Because the real and lasting reward is not the money itself. It is the control, the peace, the options, and the power to leave something truly meaningful behind. Something that continues growing and serving others long after your work here is done. Wealth is not what you earn. It is what you keep. It is what you grow. And it is what you pass on. In the form of financial assets, practical systems, hard-won wisdom, and a demonstrated mindset of discipline and long-term thinking that outlasts any single generation. And that brings us to the end of how to build assets that pay you forever. 7 powerful chapters on building, protecting, and multiplying income streams that work for you whether you are present or not. From stopping the trade of time for money, to mastering the difference between assets and liabilities, to turning your existing skills into lasting income, to building digital empires and protecting what you create for future generations. Every chapter in this audiobook was designed to shift not just what you know about money, but how you think about it and what you choose to do with it every single day going forward. Now it is time to act. Not next month, not when things feel more settled. Right now, take one single idea from today and apply it this week. Open that investment account you have been thinking about. Create that first digital product you have been planning. Make your first small contribution to an index fund. Have the estate planning conversation you have been avoiding. One intentional step forward is the beginning of absolutely everything else that follows. If this audiobook brought you real value today, if even one idea genuinely shifted how you see your financial future, do us a simple favor right now. Hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds and it helps this content reach thousands more people who need to hear exactly what you just heard. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, right now is the perfect moment to change that. We release full audiobooks every single week, designed to build your financial knowledge, your mindset, and your practical ability to create lasting wealth. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join a growing community of people who are serious, genuinely and completely serious, about building assets, creating real freedom, and living life entirely on their own terms. Drop a comment below and tell us which chapter resonated with you the most today. Which specific idea are you committing to put into action this week? We read every single response and we appreciate every one of them. Until next time, keep building, keep investing, keep thinking in decades, and never forget the single truth that started this entire journey together. The poor work for money. The rich make money work for them. You now know the difference. You now have the roadmap. Go out and build something that lasts, quietly, consistently, and without stopping until your assets are speaking louder than any paycheck ever could.